So let's start with the front. As we said before, the front part is the most important one, and this is where we want to maybe spend the most time, effort, and energy to get this right. So you will take most attention to get this front area the neatest, and this because this is where people will have their eye on. This is what is going to go onto the eye level, and we want this properly done so it can take the tape on that area the best as possible. So let's get started. So we are starting here now with aligning the very front, and after you have cut that first area of poly and ensuring that the top part is the one that takes the tape well, don't forget that part. We are preparing the thread, as we said, with the double knot at the end, and we are starting with that first. So this is what if you recall the framework, this is our starting point. And then we are implementing the hugging method, where, as you can see, we are going in a 45-degree angle, and we are going in this area where it's not on the top level of the hair but beneath. So you're trying to stay on the level beneath or just in line of the topper. So you're not going over the border, as you would say. So why we are doing this? We are doing this so the thread doesn't get into the hairs and it doesn't make for, just as you can see here, you will still have a few of them just kind of getting into it, into your thread, but if you were to go into the hairs, it would get the hairs stuck and then that will create a mess. So this way you are doing it in a much smarter way. And what that also allow you is you are not having the thread seen from the eye level once the topper is worn. So that's why we are doing it this way. As you can see, it's like a fine line how much space you are taking. So take just enough that it doesn't uh, just fall through, but don't go too far from the very edge when you are getting the needle in. Uh, Here, as you go along, feel free to just align and cut off the excess PU because it's easier to do it as you go than to cut it before, because you will never get it perfect the first time. So just do it as you go, because that way you can align it perfectly on the very edge. So you're trying to get pretty much to those first underventing hairs. So those are the first hairs you see in the system. You're trying to get as close to them, so when you put the tape on, it will pretty much close it down to your head. Okay, I will let you just go through. You can always stop wherever you find you need to see in more detail, or slow it down, or go back again. But the same technique is actually applied from the beginning to the start. You will see as you go, the first few stitches will be where you'll be most careful, and maybe you will try it several times again. Feel free to remove the whole thread if you feel you don't like it or that you could do better, and repeat, and you will see once you get the hang of it, you will just be flying through much quicker. But I would always say this area, the very front area, this is where you don't want to rush. So don't do the sloppy work in here, because this will what will give you the most bang for your buck. Okay, you can see I'm using the bobby pins because they're actually helping to keep the PU in place and stretched, And as you can see, I'm utilizing the knee, like I'm doing this on my knee, as I mentioned in the beginning of this course, because it just does, maybe it sounds funny, but it does give for the perfect curvature, as you will have topper lying on your head. So this is actually giving you a good preview uh, of how it will look like, and therefore it gives you the perfect curvature and fit for the PU. So that's why, not to mention, it just gives you the better, it's closer to you and just easier to handle. Okay, so you will see now as I'm going further along, I'm removing those bobby pins and just aligning how I see fit. You can also use just the regular clips to get the hairs out of the way, and yeah, just do your own cutting and aligning as you go, because this will provide you for just a customized fit to go against that very front. Now we will just continue to utilize the hugging method all till the end. Excuse my nails, like I'm not really getting them ready for this, but I suppose it's not relevant for this course. So, yeah, so maybe for the next time I'll be in better shape. But still, make sure to also take care of to not pinch yourself with the needle, and just be careful when going into the stitches, because as you can see it goes really close to your own fingers. Just be slow and until you get the hang of it. You will see some when you get to this point where it is like the point where the silk top is already sewn into the cap, so it's a bit tougher area. So you will maybe experience the needle going through a bit, just having some difficulties. So just be kinda take a note of that, because it will happen. Sometimes it will feel like it's giving you the push back, but you won't ruin anything. Just maybe choose a tiny different spot to go against and continue all the way to that crease. You will see the crease that I'm stopping at. This is where I felt it would be the best position to hide the double knots that we are going to do. The same way where we started with the double knot, we will now be finishing this first line. So what you're seeing here, I think I will go even 3 or 4 times to make it as secure as possible. This is just my preference. 2 will be enough, but if you want to be on the safe side, feel free to do like 3 or 4 knots, because the front hairline is the one that we need to have the most secure. So you can go like even overdo it there.